Hello and welcome to another TLDR video. With attention focused on all things virus related, a number of things have slipped through the net, notably the heightening of tension between Greece and Turkey. And given how much our audience loves geopolitical disputes and conflicts, covering it was an opportunity we simply couldn't let pass. So, in this video, we'll take a look at exactly what is happening, how it got to this point, and what the future could hold. Before we get going though, to celebrate Jack's 24th birthday, we're currently offering 24% off our pin badges. We've made tons of high quality enamel pin badges featuring our Countries with Shoes design, and I'm happy to announce a new design, Greece, premiering today. Use the code BDAYBADGE to get 24% off, meaning most badges are just £4.55. Anyway, the link's down below. First things first, some background, because to understand this dispute, we need to understand the relationship between Greece and Turkey, more specifically their relationship in Cyprus. Cyprus was originally split between Britain and Turkey, which was recognised by both sides in treaties. The issue was that when the two were on opposing sides during the First World War, this made the relationship on the island, well, difficult. So Britain decided to just annex the island to herself. Despite this, tensions between the two groups on the island, the Greek Cypriots and the Turkish Cypriots, did not just go away. The Greek Cypriots wanted what was called enosis, or unification, with, you guessed it, Greece. The Turkish Cypriots disagreed and did not want this. The demands for unification turned violent after the Second World War, with the National Organisation of Cypriot Struggle bombing buildings and killing opponents of their cause. The UN even got involved and tried to resolve the issue, but this was to no avail. In 1959, the Zurich Agreement was signed, which established Cyprus as an independent nation. It drafted a constitution, which was designed to try and appease both sides. The president had to be of Greek Cypriot origin, and the vice president had to be of the minority Turkish Cypriot origin. The vice president had veto powers, and there were provisions to divide elected assemblies between the two ethnic groups. Although Cyprus became a republic in 1960, 14 years later in 1974, a Greek military coup occurred on the island. In retaliation, the Turkish government invaded. Although this ended in a ceasefire, many Turks settled in the north of the island, which led, in 1983, to the Turkish claiming the northern third of the island as the Turkish Republic of Northern Cyprus. This is recognised only by Turkey. This has been rejected internationally, and this part of Cyprus is actually still seen as part of the Republic of Cyprus. So, very basically, there's a lot of historic tension between Turkey and Greece, with Turkey technically illegally residing in Cypriot sovereign territory. So, let's now discuss what has happened recently relating to Greece and Turkey's water rights. This all boils down to territorial waters. Countries ultimately have certain rights and claims over the water in and surrounding their borders, with the specifics governed by the United Nations Convention on the Law of the Sea, or UNCLOS. Without boring you with the technicalities of the regime of the island, or the conservation and management of the living resources on the seas, the treaty provides the framework for a country's rights and powers over bodies of water, with sovereign and, in other words, power varying depending on the body of water in question, with four key types: internal waters, territorial waters, contiguous zones, and exclusive economic zones. Internal waters, such as the Thames in London, are bodies of water that lie within a country's border and over which it has full sovereignty, in the same way that it has sovereignty over land. So, to travel through internal waters, you'd need explicit permission from the state in question. But this isn't what's being debated. The issue here resides in part on territorial waters and exclusive economic zones. According to the UN Convention, every state has the right to establish territorial waters up to 12 nautical miles from the determined baseline, with restrictions in place where doing so would clash with the claim of others. In territorial waters, the state has full sovereignty and ownership, as with internal waters, with the difference being that innocent passage is now allowed, with exclusive economic zones consisting of up to 200 nautical miles off the coast where partial sovereignty and, critically, jurisdiction and ownership of natural resources, notably fish, oil and gas. Until recently, Greece's territorial water claim was set at 6 nautical miles, but in a move described by the Greek Prime Minister as abandoning decades of passive foreign policy, Greece has begun to extend its claim to the full 12 nautical miles along its Italy-facing coastline, an extension that is legal following maritime agreements with both Egypt and Italy. All this has infuriated Turkey, with this argument invariably boiling back down to gas and oil. Back in May 2019, Turkey sent a drilling ship to the north coast of Cyprus to carry out some seismic surveys and exploratory drilling, justified by Turkey as legal due to the exploration and drilling taking place in the territorial waters of the Turkish Republic of Northern Cyprus. The Republic of Cyprus quickly condemned the move as illegal, a view also taken by the EU as a whole, who imposed a set of sanctions, reducing pre-accession assistance to €145.8 million, suspending negotiations on an aviation agreement, and suspending high-level bilateral talks. A move that seemingly did not deter Turkey, with the Turkish Foreign Ministry in a written statement concluding that the sanctions imposed by the EU Foreign Affairs Council will in no way affect Turkey's determination to continue its hydrocarbon activities in the Eastern Mediterranean. In a further affirmation that they will not be pushed around by the EU, Turkey proceeded to deploy further drilling boats, this time with Navy escorts. A measure that, again, is in direct contravention to international law and the UN Convention. At its heart, this is a matter of conflicting exclusive economic zones. In recognising the Turkish Republic of Northern Cyprus as an independent state, Turkey argues that Northern Cyprus has its own exclusive economic zone, and that it is entitled to drill there under the rights conferred by the UN Convention, claiming that the hydrocarbon exploitation by Cyprus should not occur until the island has been reunited and a fair and equitable split of resources can be determined. Cyprus, Greece, and the EU as a whole do not recognise Northern Cyprus, with the area Turkey has been drilling in falling firmly in Cyprus and, in turn, the EU's exclusive economic zone, with EU member states having the exclusive right to tap into natural resources, and not Turkey. This issue of sovereign land claims is a particularly important one. Without anyone else recognising Turkey's claim in Northern Cyprus, it makes it difficult for them to make the claim that the water they drilled into was part of their exclusive economic zone. For a land claim to hold any weight internationally, it must be recognised. Regardless, in August 2020, Turkey's drilling has continued to expand, this time to waters off the south coast of Cyprus and in the eastern Mediterranean, in an area that Greece affirms is in its waters, leading to the current move by Greece to reaffirm its territorial waters by expanding it to the full 12 nautical miles conferred by the UN Convention, leading the EU to step up measures with warplanes and navy ships from France, Italy, Greece and Cyprus being deployed and engaging in air and sea military exercises. Cyprus has also activated its air defence system, with France, alongside the military support, being strong in its political opposition, demanding that Turkey stop its unilateral exploration in disputed waters. President Macron justified the temporary reinforcement as being essential to better monitor the situation in this part of the Mediterranean and to ensure that international law is respected. Germany and Malta have strongly urged all parties to come to the table and rapidly de-escalate, with Heiko Maas, the German foreign minister, highlighting just how volatile the situation is. According to the Associated Press, Maas said that the current situation in the eastern Mediterranean is playing with fire, and any spark, however small, could lead to a disaster. No one can have an interest in that, and certainly not in military confrontation between NATO partners and neighbours. A sentiment also displayed by Malta's foreign minister, who said to the FT, if they are on very bad terms and there's a lot of hostility, it is going to spill over into the rest of the Mediterranean. It's in our interest to, as much as possible, find ways of de-escalating and having dialogue, however difficult that is. Turkey has nonetheless stuck to its guns, with President Erdogan stating that Turkey is not the one escalating tensions in the Mediterranean. Greece and the Greek Cypriot administration are trying to appropriate Turkish Cypriot hydrocarbon rights, and that Turkey would do whatever is politically, economically and militarily necessary to protect its rights. Just as we do not cover anyone else's territory, sovereignty or interests, we will never make concessions on what belongs to us. In the highly unlikely event that this leads to full-blown military conflict, saying that resolving the conflict wouldn't be easy is an understatement to say the least. Both countries are full members of NATO. Famously, NATO Article 5, known as collective defence, stipulates that an armed attack against one shall be considered an armed attack against them all. How exactly that would work when a NATO member is behind the armed attack is anyone's guess. So, what do you think? Is Greece simply claiming what is rightfully theirs? Is Turkey defending its own constitutional waters? Or is the situation far too complex to have a clear-cut line of right and wrong? Let us know in the comments below.